So I would suggest that anybody thinks that this country is in decline, come to cities. Because Democratic mayors all across the nation are creating great places where people want to be.
According to Metropolitan Police Department data, violent crime is up 39% this year, with homicides seeing a 28% increase and sexual abuse up 6%. Meanwhile, property crime is also seeing a major increase. Total theft up 27%, while motor vehicle theft is up 110%.
D.C. Council Chairman Phil Mendelson said there is not a crime crisis in Washington, D.C. Do you agree with him?
Oxford defines a crisis as a time of intense difficulty, trouble, or danger. And so I would say that we find ourselves in an intense time of trouble or danger. So I would say there is a crisis. Anytime someone's a victim of crime in the district, regardless of the number.
Madam Deputy Mayor, are people more or less safe this year compared to last year in Washington, D.C.?
Sorry, I can't say whether they're more or less safe. I can say that crime is up, and so long as anyone doesn't feel safe, then that's an issue for us.
Would higher crime rates be one of the more important indicators as to whether or not people are more or less safe?
It would be an indicator as to whether or not people feel more or less safe. So it's something that we certainly look at in determining that.
I don't know. I think people could feel unsafe even if they were safe, but this doesn't seem to be a delusion, right? The cases of sexual assault rose 111% over the course of a year. Homicides increased by 38%. Motor vehicle thefts doubled, increasing 106%. Instances of arson over 125%. And carjackings by 55%. Why do you think that is?
There's a host of complex reasons why that's the case. You've heard some. We talk about our ecosystem, policy reasons. Right,
do you think the soft on crime policies are one reason?
I don't know that I would say soft on crime policies. What I would say is that there's a number of reforms in policy that have been made in the district that we believe need to be adjusted, which is why there's been a number of proposals from the mayor, legislation passed by the council to take a look at where we're getting the type of impact that we don't want.
I agree with Mr. App that the only way this works is with collaboration. And so what do you think you would highlight as like the main policy change that the mayor has proposed that could maybe put some downward pressure on this rising violent crime?
Sure. There's a host of proposals that the mayor made related to penalty enhancements, to aligning penalties for gun crimes with federal penalties. So there's those, but there's also those on information sharing.
So hold on, let's start with those though. But the underlying premise there is that enhanced punishment can have a deterrent effect and reduce crime, right?
We absolutely agree with that. Yes, that accountability is an important part of crime deterrent.
And I'm definitely not blaming you for this because it's not your job. But when we look at the fact that the prosecutor over the D.C. area has doubled their declinations, like from your standpoint on the front lines in city government, do you think that doubling the number of declinations goes in the right direction or the wrong direction?
I would say that what we believe is that if MPD has made arrests, that people need to be held appropriately accountable. We always maintain that, Mayor.
But like it seems like the underlying premise of appropriately accountable is to have penalty enhancements. That it's not as if you think people are being held too accountable. It's that they're not being held accountable enough, right?
There absolutely needs to be accountability for those who engage in violent crime.
I think Ms. Richards would probably agree with that. Your testimony was harrowing, but it could really concern me that people might not be willing to do these life-saving, critically important jobs like firefighting and EMS if they feel like they're going into a war zone. You gave testimony about what it was like to wait on police as you're trying to save people's lives and help them. Is there anything you'd like to add to that?
I mean, that's the state that we're in right now. You know, I mean, I've waited in excess of 20 minutes before to try to get MPD on scene for a violent call.
What do you do for 20 minutes?
We stage and we wait because at this point, we're no longer going in, we're not going to those scenes.
And what happens to the people that need your help?
Citizens are not getting treated, right? They can't have our services because it's not safe for us to go in there.
That sounds like life or death to me, that people could actually die because we don't have enough police to keep even our own first responders safe that want to save people's lives. Have you been confronted with these type of life or death situations where people can't get the care they need because you're waiting for firepower and cover to be able to go help people?
I can say that yes, there's been times where we have to wait. And like I said, I've waited personally myself in excess of 20 minutes for MPD to arrive on scene.
Yeah, I would observe, Mr. Chairman, that D.C. has some of the strongest gun control laws in the country, and increasingly the law-abiding people, the people who want to be helpful, who want to be good neighbors, are constrained by those gun control laws, and yet the violent criminals are putting Ms. Richards and all the people who want to do the good work she does in graver danger, and that might be something worthy of some federal review.
You're not thwarting or stopping your police from engaging right on the streets, arresting and bringing in carjackers.
That's correct. There are a number of policing strategies. All of these have to work together. So
and you are respecting the police for them to do their job.
Mayor Bowser is that you will find no mayor who is more supportive of the police than Mayor Bowser.
We are very proud of that art.
But will you take out the part that says defund police?
Well, it's not a part of the mural, and we certainly encourage expression, but we are using the city streets for city art.
In other words, that will go away. You will paint over that.
I actually haven't even had an opportunity to review it.
Well, I think that a lot of people have different meanings for what they mean when they say defund the police. And as I've listened and read, I think most people are saying that they want reform and that they want good policing.
We want to be very clear. When we say defund MPD, we mean get the budget to zero. We are working towards an abolitionist future where we don't have police and we don't have policing as a measure of harming our communities, because the roots of policing are actually grounded in slave catching. Police were created in the United States of America to capture enslaved African people who had escaped. And so reform is not enough because the system itself is intended to do what it's doing right now.
Being here at the protest, we're hearing a lot of chants of defund the police. Yesterday, Los Angeles Mayor Eric Garcetti, he announced that he's willing to slash $100 million to $150 million from the LAPD department budget and then redirect that money into black communities. In your opinion, is that the right step, and should other cities follow suit with that?
Absolutely, it's the right step. Keep in mind, for example, in the District of Columbia a few years back, D.C. said, we just want to basically ban carrying guns. And good for D.C. They said it was going to bring down gun violence, and they were right.
According to Metropolitan Police Department data, violent crime is up 39% this year, with homicides seeing a 28% increase and sexual abuse up 6%. Meanwhile, property crime is also seeing a major increase. Total theft up 27%, while motor vehicle theft is up 110%.
Come to cities.